The management of this theater thanks you for your patronage.
The moment our fellow geeks, dweebs, nerds, and other unfortunates have been fervently waiting for has finally arrived. It's time for TMI, Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerf Herder Chandler, Jim Kaiju Baker, and Christina Yojimbo Henry. You can continue. And now, let's get on with the show. Here is TMI.
I just don't have time, especially doing 4 episodes. Four movies this week.
4, it's true.
So people don't realize, you think you just show up, you watch a movie, and then you just show up and talk about it. It's like there's actually research.
We're probably in by now, so everybody's listening to our conversation.
I think this is going to segue perfectly with where you're going.
We've said this before, but we make no money on this enterprise. We have jobs, so we have to.
It's true.
People may think, these guys have the life. All they do is watch movies and talk about it. No, we have to fit it into our schedules.
Not only that, some people think that we know everything about these movies, and we don't.
Oh, that became painfully apparent last week, where we did not give a certain special effects maestro his due.
Do we need to immediately start out the episode with a mea culpa tour here?
Yeah, I think that probably every episode we should have like a disclaimer section
about what. Well, this one is a little bit special because there are times after we record, I'm like, I forgot that note, or you learn something else after the fact. But this one was blatantly called out to us.
In our defense, it was a lengthy episode. We dropped a lot of information.
Apparently not enough. Apparently not enough. So apologies to all you Carlo Rambaldi fans out there who took us to task. Because we were very dismissive of this man and his damn robot Kong.
The conversation was much more pro Rick Baker than it was Carlo Rambaldi. So the downside of last week's conversation is we didn't do our due diligence and do our Carlo Rambaldi homework for the episode.
We were very dismissive of his debacle.
Because once you find out what this man has done, it's like all your favorite movies he's touched.
Embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It is a huge
De Laurentiis was right about the guy. He is a genius.
Yeah, we just didn't see it.
He
went on to win 2 Academy Awards.
So
Alien and E.T., right? Best visual effects. So we will gladly put it out there that when we are wrong, we are wrong.
Yes.
And we did not give him his due. So apologies. You forget sometimes that there's actually people on the other end who listen to this. And,
yes.
And I listen to a fair amount of podcasts where I'm yelling at these people because they have misinformation or you don't know the difference between Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman. But in this regard, I'm sure that there was a lot of screaming. I like the fact that someone took the time to correct us
and listened all the way to the end of that episode, because that's pretty much
waiting for us to drop that information and be like, Academy Award, any minute now. Nope.
So hopefully this week we won't repeat our mistakes.
I'm sure we're gonna forget.
I'm sure we'll say something that's
even though you just admitted to me that you have like 12 pages of notes. There will be something missed.
Yeah. So this week we are covering a new comic book movie. We love comic book movies.
Do we?
We don't love them all, but I think we look forward to watching them more so than most other movies.
Was out of the recent. This one was up there as far as
James Gunn. Come on, even though it's DC, James Gunn, the Suicide Squad, the.
I think it's just the Suicide Squad. How can you not compare it to the Heirs Suicide Squad from 2016?
Easily, because I never saw it.
Well, you're alone in that category because a lot of people saw it. A lot of people hated it. They were very dismissive of it.
Right. But the great thing is that watching this, even though I didn't see it, it was apparent to me they weren't referencing it at all.
No, there may have been one throwaway little line, but otherwise they're referring to this as a soft reboot. So take that for whatever it is.
Meaning,
because we do have carryover characters. You do have Harley Quinn comes back.
Same actors.
What are we pairing this up with?
So along with Suicide Squad, we were pairing this up with Tropic Thunder.
Do you know that every person who asked me what we're pairing this up with thought they got a good chuckle out of it.
Really?
That we were pairing this up with Tropic Thunder. 2008 Tropic Thunder.
2008 is when the first Iron Man came out, is it not?
Yeah.
The cusp of Downey's reawakening.
That is true. Same year. Holy crap. Yes. Wow. And this is pretty much his movie. This is very much his movie.
Yes, definitely.
So, but we'll get into that on the back end.
Yeah. So do we have any news before we
do have some news. Besides the Rambaldi debacle. This actually kind of ties in a little bit with one of our feature films because I'm going to start with Taika Waititi, who has a very fleeting cameo. Blink and you'll miss it. Why he was even in this movie, I have no idea. Unless they're going to set his character up later.
Well, he's buds. He's buds with James Gunn, right? That's the only thing I
guess so. Yeah. Anyways, he seems like he's really busy, so I don't know how he had the time to do that. Well, he was laying on the floor most of the time, right? It was like a death scene.
Yeah, and then he was at the end again. He was sitting on top of the world with his daughter.
That's true. So anyways, did you know that he is he was set to make a animated Flash Gordon movie?
I heard this, yeah.
The news dropped a while ago and we didn't really talk about it, but apparently now it's going to be live action.
Ooh.
But he is following in the he's stepping into the 1980 version, which is got Dino De Laurentiis' name all over it, does it not?
It does, and I am fully supportive of this.
Well,
how could you not? Listen, how could you not?
Ragnarok is pretty much, I mean, they can exist in the same realm, those two movies. So this is interesting, which I think is cool, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because this guy's got so much else going on. He's in post-production on Love and Thunder, Thor. He's still attached to a Star Wars movie with Lucasfilm, and he's got 2 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory features set for Netflix. Not even including that pirate TV show that we talked about. I'm surprised that it's taken this long for someone to kind of either pick up Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon and do something fun with them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Sam Jones is available. He's waiting. Play
his dad, right?
Yeah. He could play Ming at this point.
He probably could.
That would be great casting. Because I think the one thing with Ming is that he's so stereotypical Fu Manchu kind of. You probably got to stay away from that at this point. So we'll see. I'm excited. This guy's done no wrong so far.
So far, yeah.
But it sounds like he's really starting to spread himself thin here.
And we're going to talk about him next week because he's in our main feature, Free Guy.
That's true. I'm already starting to see reviews for that.
I can't wait to see that. But that's another story.
That is another story for another week. And then, Jim, you are set to go to Disney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You know that the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel has officially done a soft open. Are you going to Galaxy's Edge?
I don't want to sacrifice my mortgage to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, this is insane. This is the price point on this is I can't even say the word. Well, we cannot. When we get into Tropic Thunder, you can probably say it, but it's ridiculous. It's part of the Galaxy's Edge. It's in Disney Hollywood, right? No, is it Hollywood?
I don't know. That seems bizarre. I don't think it's in the park itself. Maybe it's adjacent.
Okay. But so we'll talk about how they're selling this thing, and then we'll talk about how much it is to actually get in. Oh, it's next spring it's opening. So I guess you can kind of book it now. Lock in now before, just like Galaxy's Edge, where people were so afraid to go opening weekend that they waited and then there was nobody there, right? Because they were all waiting. But this is telling me, if anybody doesn't know, this thing is made to resemble or to look like or feel like you are on a galactic spaceship. It's a completely immersive. You are not in a hotel, a terrestrial hotel on the planet Earth. You are inside this spaceship.
And lending to that illusion, everybody that's working there are basically actors. They're pretending.
So it's like when you walk through Galaxy's Edge. It's this completely, you can interact with characters. Apparently there's adventures that you can go on. So it'll let guests live out their Star Wars fantasies with fully immersive, all-inclusive, multi-day experiences like they're on a life-size starship. Guests can eat and sleep on board, go on customized missions, and interact with characters from across the galaxy. So that sounds awesome, right?
Yes.
I don't have to get on a bus. I don't have to go anywhere. I walk outside my hotel, and there's 3PO and R2 walking down the hallway.
Do you think that the maids are all dressed like Slave Leia?
That is inappropriate. I do not think that is going to take. They're all dressed like Rosie the Robot, maybe. So 2-night package starts at $4,809 for 2 nights.
2 nights.
If you want to bump it up to a family of 4, you are talking $5,999 for 2 nights. But that's most weekends. Quote unquote, most weekends, August 20th through September 17th, which are traditionally off-peak dates.
So 2 nights at this, and that's, I assume, just the rate for the hotel. It's not park tickets included and everything else.
Here's what's included with that. So you get 2 nights accommodation in a standard cabin. You get ongoing interactive entertainment. So interactive entertainment is probably what we're talking about, where you have these, maybe they have these tours. If anybody ever did the Star Trek experience in Vegas, it starts out like a regular tour, and then the Borg invade, and you are part of the party trying to escape. So it's immersive. You know, you're dodging laser blasts, and Borgs are coming out at you left and right. I would think that this is going on somewhere on this property, not in the hallways, probably not in the cafeteria, but in a confined area. But with this, you also get a 1-day admission to Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is home to Galaxy's Edge.
1 day.
It is non-transferable and expires the end of your stay. So you only have 2 days in a hotel, and one of those you're going to be off premise at another
all day. I add, because it's not like you just drop in any of those parks for 2 hours and then go back.
Correct. But you do get 2 breakfasts, 2 lunch, 2 dinners. Is that this has got to be per person? That would be funny.
But that's in the hotel, right? So you can't
in the hotel. Yeah.
You can't even enjoy lunch if you're in the park all day.
Yeah. Oh, with gratuities included, mind you.
Or dinner if you stay for Fantasmic or whatever, nighttime park spectacle is happening.
Well, you also get a 1 quick service meal at the Hollywood Studios with alcoholic option for guests over 21.
But still, this amount
break down. If you went to that park and paid for those meals,
this is double what I'm paying to stay in Art of Animation for a week with a 5-day park hopper. So
there's 3 of you.
Yeah.
It's insane. You do get valet parking. So if you happen to drive to Florida.
I expect them to cut your food up and feed it to you.
And you get an exclusive Galactic Star Cruise themed Magic Band. But do I have to buy into the Magic Band first in order to get that exclusive? Right?
In other words,
just literally a fast pass, correct? The Magic Band?
The Magic Band is, they've suspended Fast Pass because of COVID, but the Magic Band, you can actually tie your credit card to it. So you can
that's dangerous.
Pay for stuff just with your Magic Band, and it acts as your key to get into your hotel room as well.
That sounds like a lot. This is, I don't know.
So only the 1%, the elite of the elite, would be able to afford this.
Or want to. Even if I could afford it, it just sounds extraneous. I would have to see what the actual what the immersive experience is on the hotel. You got a room that's going to give me 0 gravity? Maybe.
Because this would have to be your whole vacation. It's not like you could, unless you were extremely wealthy, it's not like you could spend the week there.
No.
If this is the cost for only 2 nights. So it would have to be a vacation in itself, just 2 nights.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I found this very fascinating, and I'm curious to see if there's anybody out there who's already booked it.
Or how busy it is. Is there a wait list for this?
Yeah, how big is it? How many rooms are in this thing?
Or is it going to sink like the Titanic? Is nobody going to be there?
Oh, we can't say that. It's built. If they build it, people will come. They may have to lower their prices, though. When you get to the gift shop, there are T-shirts that say, "May the credit card be with you." So. So that's all the news I have.
So let's get into it. Suicide Squad.
Let's go. Suicide Squad. 2 hours and 12 minutes. The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so we're going to have to correct ourselves numerous times. Did you see Zack Snyder's name right up front? Executive producer?
Of course. Executive producer.
Who was giving this guy money?
I thought the WB hated him. What is he still doing there?
I don't know.
Because you see new things almost daily that the WB's reconsidering. Now they're going to make the Snyderverse canon. They're throwing away the Snyderverse. They're not.
Or they're teasing just right. They'll bring in just enough. It's like they throw things out there and see what sticks. Are people into it? Are people not into it? The DC universe is a mess.
Yeah. Speaking of people not being into it, apparently this did not do well.
I'm surprised. I will tell you, I had every intention of going to the theater twice in a row. And by the time I got home from work, I was like, well, I got to get hit to 8 o'clock. And then my son said, well, Dad, it's on HBO Max and I do have a subscription. All right, boy, let me borrow your Fire Stick. So I did watch it at home. And then him and his friends all went to the theater. They could have stayed home. So I give them credit for that. Here's a bunch of teenagers, hard-earned money. And they all decided to go to the theater. And I think there was like 5 or 6 of them. They said there was a fair amount of people in the theater. Start right out with that Johnny Cash Folsom Prison Blues.
Yes.
I'm like, I am in.
That's the one thing you get with the Gunn movie is a really nice selection of music.
He is running out of obscure songs though. Wait until he gets Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 8.
Him and Quentin Tarantino have to divvy up what's left of these obscure songs.
Yeah. Do you think they sit down and they're like, "Are you?"
Like, I'm going to use this one. You use that one. Yeah. I'm going to use this one.
Because some of them make sense and other ones don't. It's like, well, we couldn't get the rights to the one you wanted, so we had to buy this one.
I'm still buzzed about his use of Bowie's Moon Age Daydream in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Still love that sequence.
That is good. Good.
But the Suicide Squad here, that takes place on the island of Corto Maltese. So this is where our squad has been sent for their mission.
I do like this because it really just starts right out.
The opening is such a tease because it gives you one Suicide Squad, which is literally an expendable Suicide Squad. And you do see them expended. Just as a distraction for the real Suicide Squad.
Yeah, this is funny because, I know you stay away from trailers, but if you guys are in love with Michael Rooker and you're like, oh, I love this guy. I can't wait to see him in this movie. And it
opens up with him as if he is the lead in this movie.
No, everything that you see of him in the trailer is what you get of him in a movie. Like Jim said, these guys are killed off in like a heartbeat.
Now, Jeff, it may be the same for you. I don't know how much into the lore of DC you are, but a lot of these characters mean nothing to me.
No, and I think that James Gunn went out of his way to find obscure characters. Even, I guess there's a ton of Easter eggs when they're in the prison, when she's trying to get Bloodsport out or convince him to be part of the team. There's a bunch of other really obscure superhero villains and whatnot in the prison cells.
Yeah, so these Easter eggs, I
even went back and reread the Easter eggs and I'm like, it still doesn't mean anything to me.
So this is like a Marvel newbie. Like, we clutch the pearls every time we see a Marvel Easter egg, and it's lost on anybody else. And I felt like that novice here watching Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean, you do get Boomerang, I think, was a character from the original.
And he's part of the expendable team that you see in the beginning.
This is this is like that G.I. Joe movie where they brought everybody back just to kill him in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. No, but this is to great effects. This is gory. This is straight up bloody.
Yeah, now mess. I will say you do get a fully R-rated movie here. It's not like it's not flirting on the cusp of R. You get a completely hard R-rated movie.
Yeah, you get a lot of F-bombs. Nathan Fillion, little more than a cameo.
And he plays TDK.
TDK. What does that stand for? What do you mean? What does it stand for? It's my name, TDK.
It's like your name is letters. Everybody's name is letters.
Right. But my wife said the exact same thing, is that she had the same reaction as the people in the on the ground at the time where he disarms him, literally like detaches his arms and they're like flying. And she's like, the hell is this? And that's what all the other guys are going, what are you doing? What is this?
But you do get a sense that Gunn, just like you said, is searching for those, not only the obscure, but the stupidest characters that he could find.
Yeah.
Not stupid, not being their actual mental ability, but like their powers are ridiculous.
There's actually one of the Easter eggs is because Sean Gunn played the Weasel. You know, he's probably on set.
Who plays Rocket.
Correct. But he also played this other character called Calendar Man. And I guess it was a one-off. He showed up in some Superman comic, and it's just, I guess he picks a holiday in order to cause rampage. But he's showing up a couple more times, and now he's getting kind of like this cult status. And the first appearance of this guy, his comic book is kind of climbing. I saw the credit, and I'm like, I don't even know who that was. So Calendar Man is now a thing, I guess. And of course, Pete Davidson, who plays Blackguard. I had to pause the movie because my wife was screaming at me. I know that guy. He dates that girl. He's dating that girl. I'm like, what do you? I should have gone to the theater. I guess
Pete Davidson is from Saturday Night Live. He's one of the regular cast members.
Okay, so that's already more than I knew.
So seeing him, I'm like, I don't know if I want to see him in a comic book movie. And
you didn't.
To their
not
credit,
for long.
You didn't. Not for long. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess he dated Ariana Grande. I guess was his claim to fame as well.
Briefly.
Was getting at.
Briefly.
Yeah. Well, I think we all dated her briefly. As I mentioned, Michael Rooker is this savant. And then Rick Flag, who is kind of like a Captain America. I wasn't really sure. Oh, the Javelin was another one. And then Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn was there. They agree to go on this mission. And also we have Viola Davis apparently coming back from the first movie playing Amanda Waller.
And she just kills it. Like, she's just, like you said, she is just like, this is my show. And this is what we're going to happen.
Frightening. She's frightening because
these guys are all expendable, put a chip in the back of your head, follow what you're going to do.
They're chipped with an explosive. So so they're recruited to take time off their prison sentence or whatever is whatever she offers them. They're recruited for this job. They get a chip in the back of their head. And the story, as the movie opens, is following Savant, played by Michael Rooker. So, you go through the process with him. They put the chip in the back of his neck. They say that he's going to be monitored the whole time. And if they try to escape, their head blows up. So then you see him get on the plane because they're going to the island of Corto Maltese because there's a coup that has happened. The government's been taken over by these revolutionaries. They're recruited to take them out. So they get on the plane. Harley Quinn is late because she had to go number 2. She tells everyone as she gets on the plane. And then you're introduced to these ridiculous characters, TDK, Javelin, as we mentioned before. And then we have Boomerang from the last movie is there as well. Weasel, who is just this like chattering. It's almost like the mongoose from but like a full size weasel sitting there with the rest of these villains.
This is a werewolf. What is he? What is this thing?
Right out of Captain America, Winter Soldier, they have to do a drop into the water and swim the rest of the way to the island. And it's not like this is a crack team either. Like Weasel can't swim and nobody's determined that before.
Drowns.
So Savant, again, you're following this character, Michael Rooker. He shakes his head and then he swims underwater to save Weasel, who's not even human, who's probably not even thankful that it's alive. They all swim to the shore. And then you realize they're just woefully underprepared, all of them. So they start getting massacred by the troops on the beach. TDK detaches his arms just to slap the soldiers.
Right. It's so stupid.
And Savant is watching all this happen because he hasn't emerged from his hiding spot on the beach yet. And he panics and runs away. He swims back out to the ocean. Yeah. Then you see Waller, Viola Davis, back in the office, who is just waiting until until it's apparent he's not coming back, and she explodes his head. So you're like, what is going on here? And then, flash to the other side of the island where a separate suicide squad is emerging from the beach, undetected because all the action is happening where the first squad is. So they were just a distraction from the actual squad.
Yeah, this is like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then boom, titles. Then the opening titles.
And I will tell you, what was it? The Tomorrow War, where they were integrating the title changes, like physically look like they were in the environment.
Yes.
And he did a really cool thing with this as well, which was, there's Savant floating with a severed head and the blood is gushing out. And it spells, Warner Brother Entertainment presents, and you get the hand scrolled title cards on the beach. And there's a couple different things kind of going on. It was very comic booky.
Then immediately you go back before the events in the beginning. So when you're seeing the real team getting recruited, and Idris Elba plays Bloodsport, and he is picked to be the leader of this Suicide Squad.
Much against his
will.
Yes.
But you learn that he has a daughter outside, and she has been arrested for shoplifting. So he is threatened that his daughter will definitely go to jail because she's now old enough to be tried as an adult unless he leads this squad. Even Waller's employees, like they're listening to this conversation as she's setting him up. And as he leaves, you wouldn't really do that to his daughter, would you?
Yeah. Listen, we saw her blow up Savant's head. So
yeah,
I think all bets are off.
So not only was the original squad that you see massacred on the beach expendable, and
except for Flag and
Harley Quinn, you can't kill Harley Quinn, right? You know that you have to wait for her to die until this Snyderverse thing happens in the future.
She did say that she'd play this character forever. So
yes, although she said she's stepping back. I did read something where she said she's stepping back now from Harley Quinn because she's played her so many times in such rapid succession. She needs a break. So she doesn't know when the next time you'll see Harley Quinn.
She's not like a method actor.
So she's captured on the beach, and so is Rick Flag. So we will see these two again later in the movie, but the rest of their team is killed. But yes, so Bloodsport is recruited to go to Corto Maltese. Now they get the real story. So it's not just a coup that they're going there to break up. There's apparently a top secret scientific facility called Jotunheim, which is a weird kind of tie-in to the Marvel movies of the Land of the Ice Giants. Correct? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But what is the name of that? Yeah, someone's already yelling at us. There we go.
So anyway, so this facility of Jotunheim is like a big tower in a secret location on this island nation. So it's not like a tiny Gilligan's Island. It's like an island nation, I think, the size of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of like a Cuba. I would take something.
There's an alien force that's being studied in this facility, and it has been for decades. And the government that was in power were in charge of this facility. So now that this coup has happened and these revolutionaries have taken over the island, they've also taken over the facility. And the U.S. government doesn't like this because now they are in control of this alien and whatever power it yields. So, and there's footage of this alien. It's like a big floating starfish.
It's Project Starfish.
Project Starfish.
Starro.
So it's a floating alien that was taken into this satellite spaceship, and the crew of the spaceship, and there's footage of this, were overtaken by this thing because it emits tiny starfish. And like face huggers, they attach to your face, and then you become one with this Starro. It takes over your...
it's like a hive mentality.
It's like takes over your body, and then it's feeding off of your life force.
So, but let me ask you this. So were you not familiar with Starro at all?
No, I was not.
Not at all. Starro's been around since probably the 60s.
Really?
Starro is a huge Justice League villain.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
And I think he's from outer space or whatever. I don't know how true they worked, but, he looked like him. Yeah.
So I wasn't really 100% certain on how Starro got to this Jotunheim facility after it was in the satellite. If that was explained, I missed it because...
wasn't the satellite footage was they were American astronauts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did it end up on...
Well, probably ended up in American...
Maltese?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Visa.
They didn't really explain that. But that's...
there he is. He's in the tower. He's like Rapunzel. He can't get out.
So as a way of explanation, you see what Starro can do by looking at this footage of what it does to the American astronauts that are in this satellite in space.
Which is actually a really cool visual. Again, it attaches a starfish that attaches itself to your face with one giant eye in the middle. So it is cool. And, you know, there are times where I think every one of the Justice League, Superman, Batman, you know, they've all been possessed by this thing at some point. So to have a Superman with a starfish on his face is kind of neat.
So not only do we have Bloodsport as part of the new Suicide Squad, the alternate Suicide Squad, we have John Cena as Peacemaker.
I don't know what else Cena has he really made a foray into feature films?
Yeah, but I don't think he's really been in anything that's really hit. You know, he's done a few kids movies that were comedies.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
He did that
I mean,
Fireman.
listen, he's following in the footsteps of Hulk Hogan and The Rock and all these other guys that are parlaying these.
Yeah, The Rock took several years to really become the Hollywood force that he is now, you know, because he started with the Scorpion King and then made rundown like hits, but not like mega hits. And now he's coming out.
I think
with
once he shaved his hair off, he went places.
Do you think that's what did it?
I don't know. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was all the hair. If you go back and look at those early pictures of him with hair, it doesn't work.
I think it's his association with Disney. He is like Mr. Disney now.
Well, listen, take it for all it's worth.
But yeah, so John Cena here is really knocks it out of the park as Peacemaker. This character is all for peace, and he will do anything to achieve that.
Right.
He will kill anyone he needs to kill to achieve peace.
To establish peace.
Then we get King Shark. Nonaway, I think you pronounce him.
Nonaway, yeah, I think that is correct.
Yes, they don't call him King Shark. They call him Nonaway by his name. Right. So he is very difficult to control. He's always trying to eat someone until he befriends Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah. Who I think she's the I like this a lot. I like this actress. She's cute. She's very unassuming. She's just what was her name? Daniela
Melchior.
Yeah. And this is in the flashback. We see that Taika Waititi plays her dad, the original Ratcatcher. And her superhero powers is the fact that she can control rats, or she can communicate with them.
But it's kind of a cheat because she uses this device to do so. So I think anybody that has the device can do this.
Yeah. No, none of these people really have like superpowers that it's not like Spider-Man. They're not, they didn't get bit by a spider and, they didn't get injected with anything.
Except Polka Dot Man, you could say that.
Well, that is true. Because he was actually kind of an interdimensional virus.
Yes.
And he blamed his mother for it. And he was my favorite character.
And again, not knowing the character, it's kind of nebulous as to what exactly these polka dots do. But they appear because, as you said, his mother, I guess, was nuts and tried to inject all of her children to make them superheroes. And he was one of the lucky ones. And apparently these polka dots show up as they're like things. Skittles,
but they grow and they're under the skin and they're neon colors. And he has to dispel them twice a day or he dies. Because these characters are so obscure, like you said, even if you're a diehard DC fan, like some of these you have to be like, I don't know who this is. So, you're seeing this whole thing through Idris Elba's eyes, his character, kind of learning who these people are.
Yeah. And so some of them aren't really explained, like Polka Dot Man. Okay, you get the story that he has to dispel these polka dots twice a day, but then he seems to be able to dispel them whenever he wants, even when they're not showing on his skin. So you're like, okay, how does that work? And the polka dots themselves, they have like an acid effect.
You do see it kind of eating through stuff, especially when he hits Starro. Although Starro seemed to magically have grown his appendage back really quick there. But even like King Shark doesn't necessarily have any superpowers. He's just a stupid shark. And it's Groot. Let's just be honest about this.
Yeah. Voiced by Sylvester Stallone.
He's pretty funny because Sylvester Stallone is unintelligible half the time anyways. So he just kicks in that Rocky and he's like, and bird. It's like, beautiful. Perfect. Next. What were those fish things that he was in the aquarium? Yeah, I don't know what those things were.
Again, not being a DC fan,
I don't know if they were like DC creatures or whatever. They were like the little Muppets that go phenomena, except they had teeth.
This is the squad that are assembled. So they're all taken from prison and they're put together with Bloodsport. to storm this island. So they sneak on undetected because the other squad is tying up the military. And as they're making their way to this facility, this Jotunheim, they're also told, okay, Rick Flag has been captured. You have to save him. And this is like a scene out of Predator, where the military guys take out this little band of guerrillas. It really is just like the scene out of Predator in the beginning, before the Predator comes into it, and they have to overtake this little camp, and this is where Rick Flag is being held, and they do it like with extreme justice, right? So
they are just slaughtering these guys, because now they're like working together as a team. Well, not really, because you have Bloodsport and Flag, or not Flag. Who was the other? Peacemaker. They're like one-upping each other, and that's actually a really funny scene between
because
these
really
two
they have the same abilities, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I think it was actually pointed out numerous times. He's like, well, I can do that. I can shoot super straight.
Like my bullets can go through your bullet holes without touching any of the sides. That's how good I am.
Yeah, there were some good lines. You know, it's peppered with some 70s obscure songs, and you got a nice little fight montage going on here.
So they exterminate the entire camp before they make it to Flag. And
is
Flag is just like having tea.
He's just like chilling out. He's like, hey guys, what are you doing here?
They break into this cabin, and Flag is just talking to this woman, and they're having tea.
Yeah.
And like, we're here to rescue you. I don't need to be rescued. These are freedom fighters.
They saved me.
They saved me.
Yeah, they killed them all. That was a nice little reveal, by the way.
And this woman that he's talking to is the leader of the freedom fighters. So
where are my guys?
She's a little angry.
How'd you get in here without my guy stopping you?
Yeah.
They're all slaughtered. And again, it is bloody. I mean, King Shark is literally ripping people in half. And from what I understand, that wasn't actual. That guy being ripped in half was a physical effect.
Was a practical effect, really?
A practical effect. Obviously, King Shark is not. King Shark is 100% CG.
And as this is happening, you're also getting some exposition about Starro and that whole facility. So you're introduced to the character of the Thinker, Peter Capaldi, who is the only one that can really control Starro.
Kills this. He is so fun to look at. He is just a scrawny, creepy, bald guy with numerous rods sticking out of his head.
So it's really the DC version of the Leader, right? Without the giant head.
Yeah, I think the Leader probably was ripped off from a DC character, because you have not Mentalo. Who's the other guy with the DC world? There's a couple of guys that Brainiac. Is that who I'm thinking of?
Okay, well, Brainiac is like the robot thing with the brain in its...
No, I think originally Brainiac was an actual physical person at one point. Or maybe that's Brainiac 6 from Earth 616 or something. I don't know. I can't keep up.
But here we have the Thinker, and he's the one that kind of has a leash on Starro. And then we're also introduced to these revolutionaries who've taken over the government, who have captured Harley Quinn, as we said before. And one of them, like the second in command, or the head, the president, the new president,
or whatever,
Luna, has an obsession with Harley Quinn. So he asks her to marry him, like immediately, because I guess his people love Harley Quinn.
This brings this movie to a screaming halt.
Yes, it does. Yeah, this whole thing could have been excised.
Yeah.
It could have been.
It was like, well, listen, we got her on the paycheck. We need to write a scene for her, a big scene.
So she is like dolled up in this big red dress, and she has dinner with this Presidente, and he proposes marriage. And there's a big sex knock over furniture sex scene.
They consummate that relationship.
And then as he's talking about how, like afterwards, as he's looking out on the Tower of Jotunheim, and he's expounding about how Starro is going to kill all their enemies, all the families, the women and children of the people that say bad things about them, she shoots him in the heart immediately. Like, killing kids, I'm not down with that.
But I'll kill you.
Then, like, the soldiers break in, see what she's done, and she's captured yet again. So now she has to be rescued after Rick Flag has been rescued
they think she has to be rescued.
They think she has to be rescued,
and that's ruined in the trailer as well, by the way. That
trailer
reveal when they're trying to rappel up the side of the and climb up the side of the building. And she's like, hey guys, what are you doing? We're here to rescue you. That's so sweet. I can go back. It's like, no, we're good.
But in the meantime, before we get there, their first order of business is to kidnap the Thinker, because if they want to get Starro, they have to get the one that keeps it on a leash. So the Thinker just goes, unencumbered. You'd think that they keep better tabs on the Thinker. He just goes to bars, and he just kind of wanders in like he's sleepwalking. His character is very bizarre to me, because it's not like he cares much that he's taken by the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just looking. He wants a little companionship going into the bar at night.
So he goes into a bar, and he's taken by the Suicide Squad. He just goes willingly. It's like, all right, I'm with you guys now.
Right. And these rats, I'm assuming that these rats are all like CG rats.
They're a convenient plot device, because they come in to save the day here, because there's a fight in the bar where they take the Thinker with the soldiers, and the rats come in here, and they come in a little bit later as well.
Yeah. And what was the main rat? Her main, was it Sebastian was the rat's name? I don't remember what his name was now. But it was nice to see Scabbers get it and work.
Oh, you see, well, I was thinking of Ben and Willard. I was even going farther back.
I don't think that rat was still alive. How long do rats live? That movie came out in the 70s.
Yeah. No, rats are only 2 or 3 years, I believe.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. Yep.
Not a long time to get your SAG card.
So we get the Harley Quinn torture scene, and so she eventually escapes and kills a lot of guys. And then we get the scene where they're coming to rescue her, and she doesn't need to be rescued. So now this opens up the whole squad. They're all together with Harley to enter Jotunheim to locate the starfish, Starro.
And I think their plan was to just blow it up, right?
Yeah, I think so. To knock down the facility.
Yeah, let's just put C4 plastics on every floor and blow it up. But somehow there's an aquarium on the top floor. There's some giant facility where the starfish monster is being held, but it's just a tower. Is he underground? And he's monstrous. He wouldn't even have fit in that tower.
Yeah, I know. So it's revealed that it's, of course, the U.S. government that's the actual ultimate bad guys here. They have set up this facility of Jotunheim, and they were kind of puppet controlling the previous government. And once the coup happened, they couldn't have this, this other regime come in and control Starro. So they want to destroy it rather than have it in enemy hands.
Yeah.
Which you kind of figured that's not a big surprise, because that's really the reason they were there.
Right.
Was to destroy.
We'll just go and cover our tracks. That's pretty much what we're sending you in for.
And so Flag wants to destroy Starro, but Peacemaker, his intentions are nebulous at best.
I was going to say the exact same thing. At best.
Yes. So there's a big Peacemaker versus Flag, because he doesn't want to betray America. He doesn't want to betray his orders and then thus betraying peace. So he kills Flag. So his character does not see the end of this movie. So then we get the reveal of Starro. Even though they knock down the actual facility, Starro emerges. And as one of Waller's men says, we have a kaiju, people, because it's a giant Starro that's wreaking havoc on the island.
When did Milton come into this, by the way? All of a sudden, this guy is running with him. He's like Pete from Deadpool 2, and the running joke is that no one knows who he is. Milton, who's Milton? And I'm like, oh, this is just no one can remember Kevin's name in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, because Milton, this actor, at one point becomes their van driver. I guess he's working with the freedom fighters or something. And Harley Quinn thinks that Bloodsport's name was Milton at one point. And oh, are you Milton? Oh, you're not Milton?
Who's Milton? Yeah. It's not a very common name.
And so Starro emerges and, like a classic Godzilla movie, is stomping around the island and actually enslaves a lot of the populace. So the Suicide Squad has to not only fight and deal with Starro, also have to fight the civilians that are taken over, that are assimilated into Starro. And it's a nice visual. This thing is, if you're a Kaiju fan, that really scratches that itch. So it's pretty cool that they have to fight a giant monster at the end of this movie.
But like I say before, Polka Dot Man literally takes out half of one of his appendages with his bubbles, but he must have regenerated really quick, because you never see that damage on him again. So he's always got, like, he just has an eye. He doesn't have a mouth or anything, and yet he always kind of looks like he's smirking. Like, he always looks like he's kind of like having fun with it. He's like, I've been trapped for too long. I'm gonna take you people out.
Waller just wanted them to destroy the evidence. She doesn't particularly care that Starro is wreaking havoc.
Loose, right?
Yeah. She just wanted them to destroy the evidence that the U.S. was involved in this somehow.
Let's scrub that.
So she wants them to retreat as soon as the building is destroyed. Leave. Yep. She's still dangling the daughter over Bloodsport's head, and he makes a decision. He's not going to leave. They're going to take out this monster. And it reminded me of the end of Big Hero 6, actually, when they go into the other dimension, where Harley Quinn dives into the eye itself of Starro and is floating there. Using the javelin. She's floating there in the eye. And as she's like, it's like she's floating in water. And as she's there, she sees all these rats also converging and like eating Starro from the inside. And that's how they destroy this. And it's a great visual again, because when you see Starro from the outside, as the rats are eating it, his eye is just becoming more and more bloodshot and red. And it just kind of implodes from the inside. And that's how they beat it at the end. Bloodsport's daughter is like with her roommates. So she doesn't really have any love for her dad because they have no relationship. But then when she sees he's involved on the TV, that's my dad.
Yeah, suddenly.
And the other thing is that Waller gets taken out by her own team at one point because she's about to blow up Bloodsport.
Blow him up. Yeah, she's got him. She's got the finger on the trigger.
Once he makes the decision to stay there and actually kill the monster, she's going to explode his head and they knock her out.
Follow orders, man.
Yeah. So that's basically it. We really boiled that 2 hours and 12 minutes down.
It's, like I said, I got about a page and a half of notes at the most. It was entertaining.
We kind of skipped over, we get a big Peacemaker versus Bloodsport fight at the end as well. And you think that Peacemaker has been killed.
Bloodsport shoots him.
So you think that he's dead, but he's post-credit sequence. He's not dead.
Well, it's because they're setting him up for his TV show.
Yeah, it's already filmed. Peacemaker TV show.
Do I want to see a whole show about this guy? He's a bit of a douche. Who else is alive?
Who wakes up on the beach? The Weasel.
Oh, the Weasel. That's right. Who we were told was dead 5 minutes into the movie. He gets up and runs away.
So they destroy Starro and they get in the chopper and they leave the island. So are they free now? I don't know.
I don't think so because they'll go back to the facility. Each successful mission, they get X amount of years taken off their sentence.
Okay. But what happens to Bloodsport's daughter now that he disobeyed orders? Is she still okay? Are
you really laying awake at night worried about this?
Well, it's just we have a responsibility. Where does this fall in
with the Harley Quinn? Is she incarcerated? So she wasn't.
Well, that's the thing, is that this was not meant to be not only not a sequel to the first Suicide Squad, but nor was it supposed to be a continuation of her story from Birds of Prey.
So we don't know where that takes place. It could be an alternate.
Yeah. So this is completely separate from that.
It's just no wonder why she wants to take a break from this character. It's like, all right, you guys never figure out what's going on. I like this a lot. It was mindless entertainment. It was the pacing was really kind of off, especially that Harley Quinn sequence just comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah, I agree with you. I liked it as well, but it didn't have to be as long as it was. This could have been tight and in and out, down and dirty and gritty. It would have been a great 90-minute movie because just like we boiled down the plot, that's all you need, right? So it was a little too long, but I did enjoy it. It's a great James Gunn movie.
Yeah, it's got his signature all over it. And that whole opening subverting expectations, because these are the characters that you saw in all the trailers. The Michael Rooker and the Boomerang and all the characters that were coming back from the first movie, and boom, he just takes them all out.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's balls right there.
So with buckets, I'm gonna go 3.5.
I went 4
with this. You went 4?
I went
really?
4. I enjoyed it. This is probably, as far as DC movies go, it's probably up there. Wonder Woman is its own echelon. This is not the same type of movie, but it is, to me, rewatchable.
I looked at this as a Marvel movie using DC characters. I'm not.
It is. You can't. This is a class by
itself.
Well, there's actually a Guardians of the Galaxy tie-in. There's a cameo by one of the actors.
Apart from Michael Rooker and
yes, correct,
and Sean Gunn.
Yeah, it is a blink and you'll miss her, but Mantis is one of the dancers.
I thought that was her. I did see her.
That's Palm Clementif.
Because I thought to myself, is that Mantis? If it is, she's going to have to come back. But no, they never showed her. She's
one of the dancers in the club when they go to grab the thinker. Yeah.
All right.
But beyond that, I mean, yes, you can't. It is Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, these kind of reprehensible. Although I think at the end of the day, those characters are good. Even though Peter is, Quill is an idiot, he's still a good person. Drax is still a good person. King Shark is Groot. I hate to say it.
Yeah. And there is a throwaway reference to Superman at one point, but that's really the only connection to the greater DCEU.
You do hear that. That's why Bloodsport was in there, right? Was that he shot Superman with the
kryptonite
bullet. Where the hell did he get a kryptonite bullet?
Lex Luthor?
Maybe.
Mr. Luthor.
Mr. Luthor. Oh. Anyways, so yeah, it's out there. It's on Disney. No,
HBO
I'm sorry.
Max?
HBO Max. I can't keep track. I can't keep track. But I do. It's very disappointing that it's not doing well.
No, I think
quote unquote box office. But so again, what do we consider box office nowadays?
This has the bonus handicap of not being a premium subscription cost, because HBO Max, for every movie that they've put out on their service, like Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. Kong, if you have the service, you just watch it. You don't have to pay extra. And it's the same with this. So it's not like there's extra numbers to add to the box office with Suicide Squad. It's just, it's that question of, well, how many more subscriptions did we get on opening weekend?
Yeah.
So it only did 12 million in the theater for its opening night, which is a big disappointment because the first one, which everybody hated, made 746 million at the end of its box office run. And I don't think that there's any possibility that this movie could equal that.
No. But you know what? James Gunn, take your money and run and get on that Guardians 3. That's it. Anyways, so yes, it's entertaining.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So there you go. So let us go to the concession stand, and we will be back with another irreverent group of heroes in Tropic Thunder.
Yes. Do you think they have booty sweat?
All right, let's go and see what they got. Right. We'll be back.
Here's a quickie quiz. Question: what's the most popular sandwich everywhere? Hamburgers. And where do we get the best hamburgers? Here at our refreshment stand. Our hamburgers are made of selected inspected meat, seasoned to perfection, cooked just the way you like them. How about a hamburger?
When you're on a picnic, hot dogs are mighty good this way. But when you're here at the theater, hot dogs are at their best. We start with the choicest Franks. Cook them until they're just right. Make available your favorite seasonings and leave the rest to you. Everyone likes our hot dogs. Why not get one for everyone right now?
We're back, and we are talking Tropic Thunder. And I think this is what the intention was. I was very confused at the beginning because I had no memory of these fake commercials or fake trailers.
Oh, really?
So I'm watching with my wife on Amazon Prime, and you get the normal, whatever they're touting, whatever Amazon Prime movie you see a trailer for at the beginning of every Amazon Prime movie that you watch. So that ends, and suddenly the booty sweat commercial comes up, and she's like, "Is this a real thing?"
El Pacino.
And I was confused at first because I didn't remember this. I'm like, I think it is. And then suddenly we go into the first fake trailer. And I'm like, okay, it's part of Tropic Thunder.
Scorcher 4, Scorcher 5.
Scorcher, yep.
These fake trailers are genius.
Yes, they are.
Because it immediately sets you up for these characters / actors.
So even the booty sweat commercial is a rapper turned actor that's in Tropic Thunder.
Yes,
Al Pacino.
All these actors who are playing these characters. You've got the all right. So you have the Tug Speedman, who is Ben Stiller, and it's a Keanu Reeves / I don't know what other actor you could kind of throw in there, but it's like like a Die Hard type of thing. You know, these Scorchers, this whole movie series And they just have fun. They just poke fun at it. And then you get Jeff Portnoy, who is played by Jack Black, and his the fatties, which again, you know, when I first threw this out here as a potential pairing, you were like, can we even talk about this movie? Because it is very irreverent, and it is very politically incorrect.
And it pushes lots of buttons.
But it pokes so much fun at the inner workings of Hollywood.
Not only is Robert Downey Jr. basically in blackface here as his character, but you also have Ben Stiller playing someone that's mentally challenged here.
Right.
So there's multiple groups that could be offended. And that were offended when this movie opened.
But that's like, it's walking a fine line between a spoof and a satire.
This is how the movie is defended by the makers of it, that what they're making fun of are actors that take on these personas, like as, you know, method as craft.
These method actors.
So they're more making fun or making a comment on these actors than they are anything else.
Yeah, and the fact that these guys went along with this, because the other trailer, which is Satan's Alley, which is Robert Downey Jr.'s character, his character is Kirk Lazarus, and it's real world Tobey Maguire, and they're two, I don't know, priests in a nunnery or in some kind of a convent, and convents are for women. This
a monastery.
A monastery. There you go. This untold love affair. Like, immediately it just sets you to who these guys are.
And Robert Downey Jr. playing Kirk Lazarus as an Australian with like the blonde hair.
So many layers to this character.
And the blue eyes that are so blue that they're painful to look at.
Yeah, they're like piercing. And he goes under this skin pigmentation. And he gets, listen, these actors all get called out at different points in the movie for who and what they are or aren't, for that matter.
And Downey was saying that he based the performance on people like Daniel Day-Lewis and Russell Crowe that go method.
That go all in method. I want to say this is incredibly dumb and yet incredibly smart at the exact same time, because there's a lot of stupid stuff that happens, but it's genius. This movie is infinitely quotable, by the way, but we can't recite one quotable line in this movie. But like I said, you know, when we were talking about it earlier, which is this movie only came out in 2008. You could never make a movie like this now, even if you were saying that you're poking fun and that it is a satire.
Some of it did rub me the wrong way.
It is cringy.
There's like all the simple Jack stuff. With the Robert Downey Jr. stuff, not so much, because I saw that was they just poked that full of holes.
But he gets called out for it.
Yeah. So
Al Pacino, who is a black actor, a black character, takes him to task for what he's done or what he's trying to.
And he does so throughout the entire movie. It's not like a caricature. It's like a tightrope that he's walking. And I do think that he is funny.
Yeah, well, that's all of it. And I give, Ben Stiller directed this, and I give him a lot of credit. I was telling you off air, which was I have the unrated Blu-ray, and I started watching the commentary, which was Ben Stiller and a lot of the production guys. But 10 minutes in, they're talking about, clearing brush for landing zones and blah, blah, lighting. And it wasn't giving me anything. So I literally turned it off and just watched the movie the way it should be. And I saw this in the theater. You said that you did not.
I did not. No,
you did not.
No.
I do remember seeing this in the theater and thinking it was genius then. Because as a movie nerd, like, you want to know the minutia, and this is kind of like where Entourage was going. It was around the same time, Entourage. So you kind of saw that backstage, like the machinations that are going on with the agents and all the other stuff and what these actors are dealing with. But you're seeing the director who is being squeezed by the agents, by the studio, by his actors who, he can't get to perform. And Steve Coogan, who plays the director here, is just so befuddled and frustrated with these pompous idiots that he has to deal with making this movie. And the whole opening is a beautiful war movie. The first 5 minutes, you are completely in on a Vietnam era, 1969, apocalypse now, helicopters, the whole thing blowing, and you don't even realize that you're watching a movie being filmed until Ben Stiller blows his line.
Right.
He can't cry.
Which is great is just the over-the-top gore that they also have during this sequence where someone gets shot through the helmet and there's just a fountain of blood coming out of it.
You can see Jack Black literally taking the head and turning it so that he's covering Jay Baruchel's face with this spray of blood, turning it back so now he's getting covered in it.
Jay Baruchel gets his innards falling out, so he is disemboweled, and he's like, I can put him back in, I swear I can put him back in.
It's so stupid.
And then Ben Stiller comes running out of the jungle and does the classic Charlie Sheen platoon with the arms out, you know, as he's getting shot a million times.
Yeah. Which is brilliant because they echo this in the end of the movie as well. It is kind of like a Galaxy Quest, huh? Where these guys.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was writing down. This is Bug's Life. This is Three Amigos. This is Galaxy's Quest. So it's a Galaxy Quest. So it's, you know, actors that actually become soldiers.
Yeah. But I don't think they ever once realized they're shooting blanks. There's no way they have real guns on set. So
unless, well, maybe when they put them in the real, as they say, maybe they did give them real guns. Who knows?
I don't know. They never shot anybody. You never see anybody go down. They were always shooting in the air. They were always shooting over.
Right. So, this is true. But this whole movie, the movie within a movie kind of is what you're seeing. So this opening sequence is the actual film that they're shooting. And then suddenly you're ripped out of this movie and you're behind the scenes. So you get Steve Coogan's director. Yep. He is way in over his head. Damien Cockburn is the director's name.
Damien.
It's his first feature, and the explosions, he mistimes them. So the studio is losing faith in him. And Nick Nolte's character of Four Leaf, he's the guy that actually wrote the book that this movie is being based on.
Even that, I did get a chance to write it down, but you know, the opening scroll tells you that this was based on a real life event that took place in 1969. 400 guys go in and 12 survived. Of those 12, 4 got movie contract or made book deals. All those 3 that made book deals, only 1 got a movie deal. Right. And so they're even making fun of that crap, that these people are capitalizing on. And I'm not going to, spoiler alert, you find out that Nick Nolte is bullshit them all. He lied the whole way. He's got these claw hands that aren't real. And it's just
you don't find that out by the end, and then one of the characters is like, "You grew hands," when they see him.
Yeah.
But it's his idea. He goes to Steve Coogan and says, "You've got to put them in the You've got to take them away from all this Hollywood."
He's playing a character.
Yeah.
He's writing this.
And there are so many actors in this that it's hard to keep track of. But Denny McBride is Cody. He's the special effects guy, the explosions guy. So they take him, they take the director, and they take the 4 leads out into the woods, and they're going to film it guerrilla style. They've got cameras in all the trees so they can pick up all the action. So it's almost like the plot seems like Apocalypse Now, where they have to save 4 Leaf from this enemy camp. And that's what actually happens when Ben Stiller's character, he's the one that wants to make the movie.
Ben Stiller's character was supposed to be 4 Leaf.
He is 4 Leaf.
Right.
So
because in the beginning, when you see his hands all slaughtered or whatever, that's why he ends up with the claws.
And he was like, there's a funny line. I was going to teach you to juggle back in the world after he.
But before this, so I don't know on your version, because I did see the unrated version, and there's a party scene at the end of the whole filming when the explosions go awry. And that's when we're introduced to Les Grossman, who the first time I saw this movie, I had no clue until the credits ran that this was Tom Cruise.
Are you serious?
No clue. Now you can't unsee it.
You see, I didn't think that he was convincing at all trying to hide himself.
I don't whatever reason. And I'm like, and he's brilliant. And I'm sure that he's
he's very funny. He's very funny.
He is using real life agents and execs that he's encountered in his life, as I'm sure all of these guys are channeling, because even like Matthew McConaughey's agent is like so over the top, like whatever you want, tug nuts, I got it for you, the whole thing with the TiVo. But Tom Cruise's character is he just steals this movie. And it just makes me, he just elevates me, him to the next level. But there's a scene where it's like 2 weeks of filming, then they have this big, huge, elaborate party.
So no, I didn't see that.
And there's girls in bikinis, and you get a little more of the characters interacting with each other, the actors, and you see that Portnoy's really just looking for blow, and he's all about the drugs and whatnot. And Jay Baruchel's character Kevin, like he just wants to connect with these actors. But then Coogan goes out on the beach, and that's where Nick Nolte, he was like living in a shack on the beach or whatever, and he gives him this little inspirational speech that he needs to get these guys out of their element, these Hollywood pambies, and put them in the jungle.
Yes, and that's what they do. So you see them now. So that's just that little ragtag group of guys. So the director is like, "You're here now." So, and he's telling them that he's got cameras and they're on their own, and they're going to be filming them guerrilla style. And then he steps on a long dormant landmine. The director
immediately gets obliterated,
and his head comes flying off. And Stiller is still convinced that it's special effects. That this is part of the movies.
Just corn syrup and latex,
so
boys.
He holds
smoke
up
and mirrors.
Steve Coogan's head, and he's tasting the blood.
And they're like, "Oh man, what do you do?" He's like, "No, this is what he's doing to us." And he had given Tug the book, like the little playbook as far as like the scenes, like what they were supposed to be doing.
Stiller still thinks that it's real, and his character, after he made the Simple Jack movie, he's dying for a dramatic role and to be taken seriously. So he's not letting go of this movie, even when Downey's character of Kirk Lazarus knows that this is real, that he stepped on a real landmine, and so he gets the other three guys to call this off, and they want to go back to the film set. And Stiller's not having it. He goes off into the woods, and he's still doing this movie. So his character literally now has to be rescued by the other three guys. So Tug is captured by what turns out to be drug dealers in the jungle. And we meet the little kid, the 12-year-old.
The warlord.
The warlord, Tran, I think his name was.
Is that what his name is?
That was "You're trespassing in my poppy fields." But then they recognize him as Simple Jack. They still beat the crap out of him. But even though
they force him to perform every night,
and they make him wear the dentures of some old man.
That was nasty. Yeah, and you see Portnoy's character, he had some drugs that are snatched by a bat, and he's losing his mind. It's just the whole team's falling apart. No one can remember Kevin's name, Jay Baruchel's character.
Right. And apparently he was the only one that prepared for the role, that read the script and actually went to the book. He went to the boot camp as well.
Boot camp. You didn't read the script.
Stiller's character is talking to his agent, played by McConaughey, during this whole thing. He's like, "I killed a panda," when he calls him up.
Oh, he goes, I killed. He goes, "A hooker? All right, get some bleach and get some." He's like, "No, a panda." Oh, why didn't you tell me?
And then when he's taken by the drug dealers, he gets the call. It's McConaughey that gets the call that they're going to kill him unless they get, how much money did they ask for him?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it didn't matter because he wasn't having any of it.
So McConaughey barges in on Tom Cruise's Les Grossman and gives him the phone. Les Grossman just shouts down the phone. Guy. Tug is worth more dead to them than alive, so they don't care about him.
This is, I don't think any agent in the world would actually feel this way, but they did play it.
So McConaughey comes to his rescue. So
because he's offered a plane, he said,
Grossman
G5.
says, like, "You forget about this. We'll give you a plane. We'll give you
my
your own
best friend.
You let
my best friend die.
Yeah,
G5. And then he's like, "Screw this."
He shows up at the end and saves the day in the jungle. McConaughey. I did like
his ringtone for Tugs was "Sometimes When We Touch." Oh, and the name of the group was the Flaming Dragons. Who? Flaming Dragons. We're the Flaming Dragons. Simple Jack belong to us now. And the one thing, did you realize that Tom Cruise's hands are ginormous? He has fake hands.
Oh, does he really?
He has prosthetics with giant hands. Less gross in French means big hand. Yes, and he's just got, and again, he looks like this aging, agent with the big gold chain and the shirt's unbuttoned down to his navel, and he's got, no hair. When you know it's Tom Cruise, you could say, all right, it's Tom Cruise. But I did not know it the first time I saw this movie. When they were doing makeup tests and it's just him on the stage, and they're doing lighting or whatever, and he just starts doing these dances, and they liked it so much they added it into his character in the movie. And obviously the end credit is just him dancing up a storm, and you either get it or you don't. Like I said, there are so many quotable lines in this, and we can't repeat a single one of them. I will tell you, this was one of the inappropriate movie nights that I shared with my daughter years ago. And my wife came home right around the time that they had Jack Black tied to the tree, where he's offering some fellatio in exchange for some drugs. And my wife was like, what the hell are you letting her watch? I had to seriously sit back and be like, all right, maybe this was too much. It's Kevin. It's Jay Baruchel's character that has to step up. The non-assuming kid is the one who has to take charge and set things right.
So then they actually stage the rescue.
It's a white guy, Australian, disguised as a black guy, disguised as an Asian. How deep can you go into this character? And he knows just enough, I don't know, Vietnamese or whatever to completely screw it up.
And Stiller's character doesn't want to leave. He's like, I'm doing 5 shows a day.
I know, right? He's like, this is my audience. It's my boys right here. But it's funny because I think Lazarus does say at one point, some of us might not make it back. And Kevin's like, what do you mean? Like, not on the same flight? Like,
and then Lazarus finally takes off the wig and the contacts. And again, you see those bright blue eyes. It compounds how ridiculous it is for him to even attempt such a charade.
And like I said, again, these guys have endless ammunition, but they're never killing anybody. It's always, it's cinematic gun shooting. It's shooting guns in the air, they're dancing around, and he's got the guns crossed or whatever. He's like, I thought, well, what is it? Are you a poppy farmer or are you a rice farmer? And then he just opens fire on them and he's like, I'm a lead farmer. Just like the camera's still rolling on these guys, right? They can't break character. Right. And it's funny because he, at one point, when Al Pacino actually calls him out on it, he goes, I don't break character till the DVD commentary. He is completely in character in the commentary on this disc.
And he's talking one of my favorite lines.
Lazarus throughout the commentary.
One of my favorite lines that we can repeat is he's talking about a previous role that he had. It's like, they found me in an alley trying to re-enter Earth's atmosphere in a refrigerator box.
Oh, that's right. Right Stuff or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Talk about going method. Yeah.
So Stiller's character wants to stay until the little baby that he has adopted in the village attacks him, and you see him running after the guys.
Is so blatantly CG knife and blood. I'm gonna call you Half Squat.
Yeah, but Half Squat is like attached to his neck at the end, and as he's running, he throws him off the bridge.
Yes, but I will say Nick Nolte with a flamethrower may be one of the greatest things I've ever committed to film.
So Cody and Four Leaf are also captured along with Tug. So Cody and Four Leaf are leaving with the rest of the guys, and then Tug runs after him. Yeah. But as you said, the first scene again plays out at the end.
Yes, yeah. Tug's ready to sacrifice himself. He's like, I'll take care of this. You go tell the world what happened here. And Lazarus is like, what happened here? Like, I don't know what happened here. But yeah, then he comes up, the kid's trying to stab, and he throws the kid into.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That somebody had to say, all right, we have to show the kid safe and sound on the side of the riverbank. You can't just leave that, because he chucks that kid.
But that guy, I love the kid's expression after you see him safe and sound.
Pouty. He's like pouty. Yeah, I would be too.
That he didn't get to kill.
That was my best stabby friend. Yeah, but then we have a callback to McConaughey's character, fulfilling his client's wishes for a TiVo.
Yep, and he saves his life with it.
Saves them, yes.
That really dates this movie, by the way. The TiVo.
Oh, the TiVo, yeah.
That's in the pile with Betamax and HD DVD. Remember when HD DVD and Blu-ray were fighting it out?
Well, that's another genius thing, which is when they're trudging through the jungle. Jay Baruchel's character is having a conversation to nobody, because nobody's listening to him, about the between the two discs and the Blu-ray format, and he's like, well, whatever porn industry leans toward, that's usually the platform that moves forward. He's like, what, you talking to me? You've been talking to me all this time? He goes, well, talking to whoever's going to listen to me. So like all of these kind of in jokes, and then we cut to the Oscars. But he's not winning an Oscar for this movie. He's winning an Oscar for the documentary about, it's actually called Tropic Thunder, which genius. The true story behind the making of the most expensive fake true war story ever. But I'm like, there's no in memoriam for the director, Damien? Nothing. Nothing. That guy died on the set. And then you made they alluded to the fact that Al Pacino had a crush on somebody named Lance. And then you see him in the audience sitting next to Lance Bass. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, man, that's funny.
I think they were worried about this. Obviously, how could you not be coming out with a movie like this with an actor in blackface? They actually pre-screened the film to the NAACP and various African-American journalists, and they received positive reactions back. There wasn't so much backlash for that aspect of it, but there was quite a bit for the Simple Jack aspect and the use of the R word that is quite liberally used.
One of that, well, even the whole speech that Lazarus gives him, you don't go full, that's everyone knows that line, whether you've seen this movie or not.
And I had no memory of this. Downey was nominated for an Oscar for this, which is really meta when you think about it. It blows your mind. Yeah.
And this is like his comeback tour, right? I mean, like you said, Iron Man came out the same year, which is crazy.
This was the Heath Ledger year as well. So he lost to...
Damn, 2008.
Yeah. Huge movie, though. 92 million budget, made 195 at the box office. So it was a hit. Stiller says he got the idea. I didn't even realize he was in Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, he's a little kid, I guess. Yeah.
So I guess even on that set, he was observing certain actors that were so self-involved they actually considered
Christian Bale was in that too.
Soldiers, but he was a kid
Christian
too.
Bale was like, maybe he was method back then.
Maybe he was. Maybe he was
like, that's what, I'm making a movie about you one day, dude. Because I don't think you're gonna get any better. Still got to bring up that thing. Did we bring that up during Rain of Fire? His little rant that was making the rounds on the internet there when he
I remember that. Filming. I remember that.
Right.
The funny thing also, Cruise was set to play the McConaughey character. But he pitched this really vulgar, loudmouth exec producer type character. He wanted to play somebody like that. Because again, what you were saying, he probably has come across quite a few of those characters himself. Yeah.
Well, that's weird because I read Owen Wilson was actually was originally set to play McConaughey's character Peck, but I guess he attempted suicide. I don't remember this at all. And after that, Stiller said, you know what, we're gonna let you kind of heal and we'll just go our own way for now. I don't remember that at all. I was very sad when I read that.
Yeah, I do remember when that happened. And, you didn't see him for a year or two, and then suddenly he was back like nothing had ever happened.
But anyways, you're right. He's back, and we wouldn't have Lightning McQueen without him or Mobius.
That's true. That's true.
So, wow, we just ended that on a sour note. Sorry.
But we didn't give buckets yet. We didn't give our buckets.
Yeah.
What would you give for Tropic? If you gave the Suicide Squad a 4, what would you give to Tropic Thunder?
This is so close to a 5 bucket for me.
Really?
It really is. It's funny, again, talking to other people who are like, what are you pairing up this week? And I said, Tropic. Oh, I love that movie. I haven't seen that movie. I'm going to go watch it this weekend. 4 3/4.
You see, I would go equal with the Suicide Squad with Tropic Thunder. There's still things that don't sit well with me. It's almost like, even though they swear up and down, they're skewering actors in this. It's almost like they're rubbing their hands together. Oh, could we get away with doing this? Can we get away with doing that?
You wonder. I'm sure there was a lot of talk about that on set. I mean, like you said, Stiller's pretty much a kind of a laid back guy. And even listening to, I did not listen to the cast commentary, which may have enlightened a little bit more. Some of their, because I did read that Jack Black was kind of leaning into Robin Williams a little bit for his character.
Okay.
But you have to think, if you're making fun of the fatties where he's playing every character, that's Eddie Murphy.
That's Eddie Murphy.
That's an
Eddie
Murphy straight up.
Yeah.
The production guy was saying, how hard it was just to fake these trailers. They had Tobey Maguire for 2 hours. That was it. And he did it pretty much as a favor. The fatties he's playing every character in there. So even in scenes where they're together, you got to film them separately and splice it in and whatnot. And yeah, they said that was actually one of the hard, and it came on the tail end. They really filmed those things at the tail end of the filming. It came late in the game before they decided to even add those. But I think right up front, it just adds, like, you immediately know who these characters / actors are.
Yeah. So speaking of tail end, we're at the tail end of this episode.
We are.
So what are we doing next week?
We have to go to the theater.
We have to. There's no other choice. There's no other choice. Ryan Reynolds, Free Guy is what we're talking about.
Yes, so, Free Guy.
A box office darling, Ryan Reynolds. Let's see if he can pull the box office back to life.
Yes, Free Guy,
next weekend.
Or as I like to call it, Wreck-It Ralph, which would have been a fun. That
would have been a fun pairing, but what are we pairing Free Guy with?
We're going to go a little more serious, but we are going... There's trouble in the Matrix. We're going right back to the Matrix. Ooh. We're going to the monster, the master of it all.
Again, can't believe 190 episodes of this show in, we've never talked Matrix, but we haven't. There's time.
Still a lot we have not hit. Terminator. Yeah. We would not talk the original.
Some
Terminator.
of these things maybe seem too obvious in the beginning. Yeah.
Well, we always, like you said, there's a lot of times where we sit on this stuff and we want to kind of leave it for like those big events. Yeah, there's a ton. So, all right, well, that's it for this week then.
All right,
and we will be back next week with Free Guy in the Matrix.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you as always.
Thank you. Bye. Hello, everybody. If you liked the podcast you just heard, then please follow TMI on all of our social media outlets. First and foremost, email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com. That is tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at TMI_podcast2018. Stop over, say hi, give us a compliment. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well, which is also TMI_podcast2018.
And of course, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/TMI Podcast 2018. And it should be noted, we also have a community page, so join the forum.
And if you like to watch YouTube, you can see us at TMI Podcast 2018, all one word. Look for the popcorn bucket.
Popcorn bucket. Or you could just go to our website, which has every link there, TMIconfessionalspodcast.com. And we'll see you at the concession stand.
We'll save some popcorn for you.
And Bird.